welcome back to Risa Does Makeup. Today's video is going to be a full face of Chanel makeup. Actually, it's an almost full face of Chanel because there are a couple of products that I use in this tutorial, like the concealer, powder, and lip liner. Oh, and contour. Those are the only products that aren't Chanel. And this is the look that I will be demonstrating to you today. This has been my go-to going out look for a couple of weeks now. I just think it is pretty simple to do and it's flattering and I just love it. In this tutorial, I do use and give you a little mini review of the new Chanel Ultra Le Teint foundation, which is a replacement for the Le Teint Ultra Tenue, which I have done a full review of on my channel a couple of years ago now, I think. Apparently, I was one of the few people that actually liked the Le Teint Ultra Tenue, but others did not. And the reason why they didn't, this is what I was told from the Chanel rep, was that the Le Teint Ultra Tenue was supposed to replace the Perfection Lumiere, which was a totally different type of formula. That one, it was nice, medium to full buildable coverage, long wearing, but it wasn't that long wearing on my oily skin. It wasn't matte enough for my oily skin. So when the Le Teint Ultra Tenue came out, I actually really liked it because it did provide that full coverage matte finish, but I can see how someone with drier skin or even combination skin might not like it, especially if you love that more dewy finish of the Perfection Lumiere. So they have done away now with the Le Teint Ultra Tenue and have come out with the Ultra Le Teint. So I'll read you quickly the description of the Ultra Le Teint. It says that it's a long-wearing, full-coverage foundation, provides 24-hour wear with a flawless matte finish. It is a lightweight foundation that glides onto the skin for all-day comfort and a perfect-looking complexion. So you'll be hearing my thoughts on that in just a few moments when I get to the foundation part of the tutorial. A few weeks ago, I was going through some tough times and I felt like I needed some retail therapy. And so I hadn't purchased Chanel in a while. So I decided to stop by the Chanel counter at Dillard's. I was really looking for the new Ultra Le Teint foundation. I really wanted to try it, get a sample, and I ended up spending, a little bit of money, which is easy to do at a Chanel counter. I am wearing everything I purchased on my face right now, so let's get to the tutorial. All right, let's get started. I have already applied my primers for my face and my eyes. Unfortunately, I don't own any Chanel primers, so I just used my Holy Grails, which are the Hourglass Veil for the face and my NARS Pro Prime for the lids. I was given 3 shades of the foundation to try. I received B20, and B stands for beige. There's B for beige, BR for beige rose, and beige doré, which I believe has the more yellow undertone or olive undertone. Beige rose is going to be more pink, which I discovered when I used the BR32. This oxidized so badly. I had put a little bit on the back of my hand, and later in the day, I noticed that it looked like I had swatched pink lipstick on the back of my hand. No joke. It oxidized so badly. So I am going to say the same thing I have been saying about Chanel's foundations for years. They need to start consulting with makeup artists when they formulate their shade ranges. Maybe they do, maybe I'm totally wrong, but if they do, they need to get new makeup artists to consult with because I still feel like the color range is not great. The undertones, even the 30 that I tried, which is supposed to be in just the beige neutral range, it just oxidizes too badly and it turns a little bit more to the pink than I personally would like. I'm thinking maybe I need to go back to the counter and try BD31 because I do personally like a little bit more yellow in my foundation. Because I haven't used my self tanner recently, I'm gonna go with the B20. And I think you can tell that it has a little bit of a peachy tone to it. The 30 has a little bit more pink, and the 20 has, you can definitely tell right there, that it's super peachy, and I need something a little bit more yellow. This does have really nice medium coverage, and it is buildable. It has a really lovely finish. It doesn't emphasize pores or dry patches, so I think the formula is really good. In the past days that I have worn this foundation, I definitely felt like it was long wearing. It didn't make my oily skin feel excessively oily. It's not very oil controlling. I definitely had a lot of oily breakthrough, but it does have a nice soft matte finish. It blends really easily. So I really think it's a good formula. I just don't love the color range. Moving on to concealer, I do not own one by Chanel, but I did mention at the beginning of the video that not everything is going to be Chanel, just the majority. So I'm going to use another one of my Holy Grail concealers, which is the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion, and the shade I'm using is 2C. So I'm just going to apply that under my eyes and then blend it out with my fave, the Mini Beauty Blender. And I like to take a little bit up onto my lids. And I'm going to set my entire face with the Huda Beauty Loose Baking Powder. For my eyebrows, I'm using the Crayon Sourcils Sculpting Eyebrow Pencil in Brun Natural. And I am brushing up the hairs first. I used to use the Chanel brow pencil in taupe when I was in high school. I don't know how I managed to afford it, but I did. I used it for years and years and years. But when they reformulated this pencil, they made the taupe a little bit too light for me. But then again, I look at old pictures of myself from back in the mid to late 90s, and I feel like my brows were non-existent. So maybe it was that light back in the day, and I just didn't care. I just used it anyway. But now I like my brows to be a little bit darker. And I'm going to set them with Charlotte Tilbury's Legendary Brows. Now I'm carving out my brows with a little bit of concealer as always. Now let's get to my favorite part, the eyes. I am using the Les Beiges Healthy Glow Natural Eyeshadow Palette in Deep. The look I'm going for today is inspired by this photo of Elsa Hosk from the Vanity Fair Oscars party that happened a couple weeks ago. This makeup was done by the amazingly talented artist Hung Vango, and I've been asking him over and over on his page to post a breakdown of this look. I know he used Chanel. He's posted the breakdown of some other looks he did that night 3 and 4 times, but yet he will not post the breakdown of this one, and it's driving me crazy. I want to know exactly what it is. Both myself and the makeup artist working at the Chanel counter, we just kind of picked out the products that we thought he might have used, and the closest thing we could come up with for the eyes was this Les Beiges palette. So I am going to start by doing my outer corners, moving into my crease, using this Sonia G brush. It's called the Worker Pro. And I'm applying that to the outer corners of my eye and blending it into my crease. And I'm kind of taking it up towards my temples. You could use tape for this if you'd like to have more of a defined angle up. So now that I have this color laid down and blended out, I'm going to go in with this deeper brown right here. And for this, I'm using the Builder Pro from Sonia G. And I'm focusing this just on the outer corners, not going anywhere near as high as I placed the first color. Just keeping it right there on the outer corners. This one in with a darker brown in the palette and intensified it a little bit more. And then going back in with the first Worker Pro and blending it out. Now I'm going to take a little concealer on the same brush I used to carve out my brows. This is just a brush that I got at the Makeup Shack, which is a local makeup store here in Vegas. They do sell this online, and I believe it's only $5 or $6. And what I'm doing with this is I am making that sharp angle. Of course, you don't have to do this if you like a softer look. I just really want to go for that cat eye elongated shape. And because my eyes are downturned on the ends, this helps to lift the entire eye. And for my lid, I'm going in with my finger and this gold shade. And then also with my finger, I'm going into the lighter gold shade. This one has a little bit more of a sparkle to it, so this is optional if you don't want the sparkle. But I'm just adding a little bit over the first gold. And I want to go back in and touch up those outer corners. You can add more product, but you don't have to. There should be still a good amount left on your brush. And for the bottom lash line, I'm going into the dark brown, and I am using the Sonia G Smudger 2. And I'm just lightly applying that along my lower lashes, along my lower lash lines, I should say, and connecting it with that outer corner. Keeping that angle up. Concentrating the most pigment on the outer portion, outer third, or outer half actually. And then whatever's left on the brush, that's what I'm taking in to the inner corners. For my upper lash lines, I'm going to use the dark brown once again, but I'm going to use it wet. And for that, I'm going to use the Sigma E06 winged liner brush. I'm going to spray it with a little bit of my Smashbox primer water. And I'm going to run this along the top lash line, just right at the base of my lashes. Next, I'm going to curl my lashes and apply some mascara. I have this little mini sample of the Le Volume de Chanel. This is a great mascara. Every time I use one of these samples, I feel like I want to go and buy the full size. But sometimes I find that the samples work better than the full-size tubes. Do you ever notice that? You get a mascara sample and you love it, and then you do go buy the full size and it's not as good? Strange, but true. My lashes have gotten so much longer from using New Lash for the last, I think, 8 weeks now. I am so happy. I think in a couple more months, I will not feel the need to wear false lashes all the time. Or maybe I can just do more corner lashes versus full strips. And I'm just putting a tiny, tiny bit on my lower lash lines. All right, I'm feeling very pale, and I do not own a Chanel bronzer. So I'm just gonna use my Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. I'm gonna use the darker shade and an angled brush. This is the Sigma Large Angled Contour F40. And I'm gonna contour just lightly. By the way, this is the medium dark version of the Film Star Bronze and Glow. For blush, I'm using the Joues Contraste in Jersey. And for my highlight, I am using the Le Teint du Lion in Or Rose. This is a illuminating powder. All right, it is time for lips. And for that, I am using the Rouge Allure Velvet in the shade Nuance. This is a beautiful peachy nude color. And this is the softest feeling velvet lipstick I have ever tried. It feels whisper light and it doesn't cling to any dry patches. It is such a nice formula. Although this is the only one I have in this Rouge Allure Velvet formula, so I can't say that they're all as good as this, but this one is really good. And of course, the packaging is beautiful. The final non-Chanel product I'm going to use is this lip liner from Bobbi Brown. It's in the shade Nude. I just think this is a good match for this lipstick. And I own so many liners. I had no business buying another lip liner, especially one that's as pricey as Chanel. In my little Chanel haul, I also picked up this beautiful gloss in shade 712, and it's just a sheer, sparkly, golden peach gloss. And as many of you know, I like to put the gloss on the back of my hand like this, and then take my finger and apply. So this is the completed look. I did end up adding a little bit of this highlighter to the inner corners of my eyes and the tear ducts. I also used just a basic black eyeliner to line my inner rims, top and bottom. All right, everyone, I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial using an almost full face of Chanel makeup. If you did like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. I would also appreciate you subscribing if you're not already and following me on my other social media platforms. I have Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter. Everything is under the name Risa Does Makeup. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.